Hello everyone, welcome to Mary's little house. The dogs are still up. Well, Angel is, she's walking around, and Peanut just moved on my lap here. He's not asleep yet. Wait till I start talking, he'll go to sleep, like a lot of people do when I start talking. You might have went to sleep for last video because I went past my take 10 and I went 13. I apologize for that. I wasn't watching the time. Today we have session Take 10 with Jim, number 60. And I'm calling it Spiritual Law of Gravity. Remember in today's Gospel from Matthew 23, verses 1 to 12, Jesus says, "Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, but whoever humbles himself shall be exalted." My goodness, when we're braggarts or something, or when we think we're the greatest, we're up there in our own high exalted way. Just like the law of gravity, that a body falls to the earth, like the apple on Newton's head, we will fall to the earth to be humbled. Whoever exalts himself shall be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted. So we have a sure bet of a fall, of a humiliation, and God permits that to happen, or wills that to happen, so we will walk on solid ground. In fact, humility, it comes from the word humus, which means ground, or the soil. Humility is the basis of our spiritual life. If we build it on our pride, or how much we've done and how holy we feel, we'll just hit the ground pretty hard. The higher we go up to ourselves, exalt ourselves, the harder we fall. But that's not because God is pulling the rug out from us and all that to be tricky. But He lets us experience and be humbled when we do get on our high horse at times. So what goes up comes down. When we go up in our pride and our self-inflation and our seeing like the Pharisees there, who all wanted to be greeted at the marketplace and placed up in the high the front table, and wearing these exaggerated tassels and prepared on their prayer shawls. That's they're bound to come down pretty hard, and Jesus points that out, that we're not to be like that. Anyway, how are we to be then? So if we're not supposed to be exalting ourselves and worrying about if everybody's noticing us, and if we get the best place at the table up in the front, all that stuff, what are we to be? Well, Jesus tells us that too. The greatest among you will be the one who serves the rest. Holy mackerel. The greatest among you will be the one to serve the rest. That just the opposite of our world today. The greatest among us is the one who drives up in a big limo, or is driven up and gets out with all the sparkle and people taking pictures and all kinds of stuff. That seems to be the greatest, where people pay more attention to. But what about the person just humbly serving the Lord day in and day out? The greatest among you is the one who serves the rest. That's the greatest. It just turns our culture of self-inflation, of image making, and all of those things upside down. Because we know, when we see this in the political life, we see it in the movie stars, how their lives just come tumbling down so many times because of their own maybe choices, but also of the world that puts them so high, and their lives become very tragic at times. Um, and so we see that in people who are in those big positions, and and we see their tragic flaw when they come tumbling down, and we pray for them. God has great compassion for them, um, and and I always say when they hit the ground that they will grow now in holiness, grow to see what is really most important, and that the most important is the being the greatest among you is to serve the rest, not to be served, not to have all kinds of fame and fortune and all that. That's not what the gospel is about. But the greatest is to serve the rest. One of the things I have found to be humble that's found me are the little people in the world, those who are the least, those who are passed over, be they poor in coming from a certain neighborhood that isn't on the big real estate value, be they maybe persons with disabilities. Those are the most refreshing people, because first of all, Jesus told us, if you do it to the least of my brothers and sisters, you do it to me. So they're Jesus to us. They call us to such love. I see there's a man that comes with his son who is a person with mental disabilities. Every time we go to the Missionaries of Charity for Mass and Holy Hour on the first Saturday, our ministry goes there and brings food for the poor, for the people who stay in the sisters' shelter. But he goes and he's treated so beautifully by his father, and he has different mannerisms and different noises, but the father isn't embarrassed at all. It's so beautiful. I just almost cry when I see the love the father has for him. And he has a Cardinal cap, the baseball Cardinals. He's a real fan of the Cardinals. I get to talk Cardinal with him, with his dad, and it's wonderful. It's just to see how this dad is so self-giving. For these people call us to a greater gift of ourselves to them, and keeps us humble too. We don't have to worry about it. What are people thinking when they're maybe making an inappropriate noise, what other people would call that, in church or whatever. But he just loves that son unconditionally. Well, the same with us or with me. I see that in how attractive I am attracted to those who are little and small, because they have so much to teach me, so much to help me see Christ in them, and to rejoice with them that they are the little ones that Jesus most identifies with, and rejoice that I could have the gift of loving them and making them happy. Sometimes Jean Vanier, who founded the L'Arche communities, L'Arche means Noah's Ark, Ark communities, L'Arche, Ark, for persons with disabilities, and I lived with the community for some months. He said that these persons with disabilities have a great fear. They're very wounded. And I saw that sometimes their face looks frowning all the time, not because they're mean or anything, but they're afraid. And to make them happy, to put them at peace, to give them dignity, to celebrate their achievements. These are all things that make us great too. Remember what greatness is in the kingdom. In Jesus' mind, the greatest among you will be the one who serves the rest. It's easy to serve people with great prestige, and they could pay us back, and we could get in the picture with them, and when the newspaper comes around, we could be popular. We could live in their radiance. But it's more beautiful and safe to serve the little ones of this world. I'm not saying not to. We love everyone, the rich and the poor alike. but it's really, really safe and to serve the little ones of the world. So let us all strive to be great. The greatest among you is to serve the rest. Happy Lent.